Hello YouTube, so tonight I'm going to show you how I break down 2 whole beef sirloins. This is Black Angus beef. I'm going to show you how I prepare this to grind it up, but also I'm going to save some of this aside to make beef and broccoli for dinner. It's a good way when you're canning some meat or putting something back to try to meal plan around that, so that way you're not having to cook 20 things at once. So again, this is roughly 22 pounds, 22 and a half pounds, 22 and 3/4 pounds of whole sirloin. Most of it is going to be canned up, some of it is going to be set aside for taco night, and some is going to be set aside for beef and broccoli. I have one kid that's not a fan of Chinese food, so he'll have tacos and we'll have beef and broccoli, or if anybody else wants to have tacos, they have 2 options available. So I'm going to resharpen my knives. When you go through and cut up your meat, you always want to have your knives as sharp as possible. And I picked up this Smith's Tri-Stone. It's got a coarse, medium, and fine stones on it, and I used their Smith's honing oil with this to sharpen my knives. It's also good if you hunt and fish. I know my dad used to use the stones to sharpen his knives, so this is what I stick to. I don't really like a honing steel. I have one, but I don't use it. So anyway, I'm going to sharpen my knives, and really quick I'm going to show you how I put my meat grinder together. So this I picked up at Northern Tool probably 8 to 10 years ago, and it's still kicking. It's really easy to put together. So this piece goes in here. I usually screw that all the way in when I put it away so that it doesn't get broken. But that goes in. One frame. Okay. So the feed tube goes in. You can also use this to make sausage. It came with the sausage making tools. But anyway, we made all of our own, like, sausage and meatballs and all of that coming up, so it's just, you gotta have stuff like this on hand. But anyway, that goes in. I use the fine, oops, forgot my cutting blade. And you don't really want to tighten this too tight, it'll mess up your machine. So I usually do it literally like fingertip tight and then a little more. And of course your feed tray and your pusher. And that's it, it's ready to go. With the meat grinder, even though I clean it thoroughly every time before I put it away, you know, since you're handling raw meat and putting it through here, I always wipe down the exterior with a bleach and water solution, and I rewash all of the parts in hot soapy water. My cutting blade and die, I oil that with a little bit of cooking oil so that it doesn't rust in storage. You have to be very careful with those because they rust easily if you don't take care of them. But anyway, I'm going to resharpen my knives real quick. The main knife that I use, I'm sure you saw this if you watched my other beef canning video, but that's the main one I use to break down the whole sirloins. And then of course I have my Henkel's chef knife if I need that or want that. But anyway, I'm going to get prepared, and then I'll bring you back when I am ready to start cutting everything up and putting it through the meat grinder. I'm not going to cut the cutting of the meat and grinding of the meat out. I'm just going to speed it up so that way you can see the whole process and, you know, not have it take forever to watch. I've got my jars washed and sterilized in my All-American 941. Probably not going to need the big canner, but just in case, I've got 10 jars in there. Washed, sterilized, and ready. I've got my Tattler lids ready, and my bands. All of my canning tools have been washed thoroughly in soapy water. My cutting board has been washed in a bleach and water solution, and since I did my nails, I'm wearing gloves. I don't want any bacteria introduced, and when I'm canning, I always like to be very clean, very sterile, so that way I'm not getting us or anybody else sick. But when I'm ready, I'll bring you back and show you the next step in the process. By the way, really quickly, I just wanted to bring you back and show you the honing solution that I use. I finished my last bottle of this, so this is a new package. Their products are made in the USA, so you're not having to worry about any craziness. And some people use water to on their stones, but I prefer to use the honing solution to take care of the stone. And then I clean the stone down after I'm done using it. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this real quick. And this I do get off of Amazon. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of blood in these bags. So I've thoroughly washed my pair of scissors, and I trim the top of the bag and dump this in the sink, so that I'm not dealing with all this excess blood all over the counter.